A week from today, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump will return to the Oval Office, and so will his protectionist trade policies, as is long promised. Is this a complete red flag for South Korea? Let's turn to Professor Oh Joon-seok. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Dami.
Professor, let's start with how Trump's protectionist trade policy became popular and gained support in the U.S. to begin with.
As President-elect, Trump has made an indiscriminate tariff, a campaign promise, protectionism, and American first policy have become stronger. What makes protectionism popular? That's because they believe three arguments. The trade barrier protect the workers' job, protect the import industry, and safeguard national security. They believe when foreign products face high tariff or are limited by quotas, less competition in the local business, a better chance. They might believe protectionism benefit workers protecting jobs by making foreign goods more expensive. But as Dami, you mentioned, the first term of the Trump administration tells the truth. It's not exactly. Only workers in a protected industry benefited from the protection. Precisely speaking, Trump's protectionism in the first administration helped the workers in steel and electronic home appliance industry at the sacrifice of the rest of the customers. Now, how could it be convincing again? Protectionism is like suggesting an offer to the village people of living together in a big cave. Think for a moment. When you feel safe and free, lock yourself in a dark cave. It might be when village people believe there will be a thunder or heavy rain, and the belief of full of tension, threat, or uncertainty outside draw people into the cave as a safe harbor. Locking cave cannot be a long-term policy. They could hide but not grow nor learn from others. For the time being, protectionism can get shaken and political years, way to go. But however, the economist tells the warning. The wage increases resulting from high tariff, anti-immigrant policies could stimulate the price in the United States. This may be very, very difficult to reconcile with his promise of a low interest rate. President Trump's America First and extreme protectionist policy will become worse and worse on the overall global economy.
Well, what we do know for sure is that Trump will likely keep China in check, especially when it comes to chips and advanced technology, meaning the target will be China. But what we should be concerned about here is that South Korea and South Korea firms may be victims of the U.S. China trade war that we saw 4 years ago, right?
Right. When the second Donald Trump administration comes into office, one of the most important strategies it must lay out is a comprehensive high-tech policy, including unparalleled cooperation with capable allies amid intensified U.S. China competition. This type of competition is a supply chain competition. So it is very important for Korea to be included in the supply chain. When the trade tension between two countries become worse, China is likely to take a trade deflection policy, which means round-tripping trades to avoid the rule of origin. Instead of direct trade from China to United States, Chinese product will make an export to Korea first, Canada, or Mexico, and making a transit from Korea, Canada, and Mexico to the United States. This is why Chinese companies had made foreign direct investment into Korea, Canada, and Mexico. Korea lies at present on the fourth line of the U.S. China tension. In the head-to-head, this kind of head-to-head conflicts, Korea became a sitting duck in these geopolitical situations. And this is also the reason the second Trump administration raised the issue of renegotiation of USMCA between Mexico and Canada. Each passport made in Korea, made in Canada might not be allowed anymore. Korea has to cope with the growing dilemma with dependence on the Chinese market. being unable or unwilling to decoupling from China due to its immense economic potential, even Canada and Mexico as well as Korea seek to strengthen their security and defense ties with the United States. In the sense of defragmentation risk management, the private sector really matters a lot in making more resilient and secure supply chain to sustain a robust technology alliance. Anyway, as we mentioned, Korea is likely to fall victim to the escalating trade disputes among the United States, China, and European Union as well.
Well, Professor Oh, South Korean auto and steel sectors are on high alert that they may become the hardest hit by the Trump's protectionism yet again. Now, how can these troubled sectors really survive Trump 2.0?
In the middle of reforming supply chain in chip industry, it is expected that the U.S. push more pressure on China. As a result, Korea semiconductor industry might find unexpected advantage. And the United States may use alliance in its effort to build naval vessel amid the expectation of seeking cooperation with Korea's shipbuilding industry. Trump made it clear amid call for America to bolster its shipbuilding capacity. China is known to have over 230 times the shipbuilding capacity of the United States. Trump said the U.S. seek to work with Korea in shipbuilding industry, particularly in naval shipbuilding export, repair, and maintenance. And Trump's proposal for a 10% universal baseline tariff on all import poses risk for Korean automobile export. Tariff hikes could undercut auto export. However, experts say a potential increase in U.S. oil and gas production could help to stabilize global energy prices, offering relief in some areas.
Well, Professor Oh, before I let you go, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, two big giants here in South Korea, are among the big beneficiaries under the CHIPS Act. The question is, will Trump uphold the CHIPS Act, something that was signed under the Biden administration?
Yeah, the CHIPS Act provides incentives for chip makers to settle manufacturing in the U.S., which became a point of contention. Trump criticized the bill and its price tag. The Korea EV battery industry, led by LG Energy Solution, SK On, and Samsung SDI, received over 2.65 trillion won as a subsidy from the first quarter of last year to the third quarter of this year under the IRA. Trump is probably not going to roll it back. Korean chip makers and electric vehicle battery manufacturers are particularly on edge, as these companies made substantial investment in the United States in response to Washington's subsidy program. For example, Samsung Electronics was promised to subsidies worth $6.4 billion when a semiconductor plant in Taylor, Texas starts to operate in 2026. SK Hynix, which unveils plan in April to build an artificial intelligence semiconductor plant in Indiana, is expected to receive $450 billion in federal subsidy. Since these subsidies fall under the CHIPS Act, there is a hope that it will likely remain uncontact.
All righty, Professor Oh, thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.